In this video, we are going to be talking about my 10 favorite use cases for ChatGPT inside n8n. Let's dive into this right now. All of the blueprints are going to be free down below if you guys decide you want to download any of this kind of stuff and use it yourself. Now, the first thing is that using ChatGPT from within n8n, you can easily generate images that are absolutely stunning. Let's take a look at two examples here, like this Lush product photo here of soap, and also this product photo here of a Lush body wash. Now, that in and of itself is very cool, but here's something that you probably haven't tried yet. You can actually merge both of those pictures into another AI generated image. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like here. So on the left hand side, we've taken those two images that we automatically generated, and then we put them into another AI generated image. This has come a long way. First of all, I really like the text here. I mean, it does a really good job. You can see it's not perfect because this is no language whatsoever. I don't think that's anything out there. I don't think there's any language that has those things in there. Freeding and okay, so it kind of gets some of it right. Anyways, I digress. These models have come a long way. These photos are absolutely stunning. They're only going to get better in time. And we can take these kind of images that we generated automatically without even having to enter into ChatGPT and prompt it to do this for us. We can take those and we can publish them on social media. We can take them and publish them on our blog post. We can create designs for them or whatever the case may be. And we can actually take it a step further with example number 2 here is where we can use this next ChatGPT node here, which automatically analyzes images. So it can read this for all intensive purposes, like look at it and understand based on pixels on a screen how to generate the right caption for Instagram, or at least that's what my prompt is. This is one of many use cases for it, but you could generate captions, you could generate things for blog posts or designs or whatever the case may be. What it says here is self-care starts with little luxuries with the most applicable emoji humanly possible. So nice job, ChatGPT, on inserting that in there. Treat yourself to pure relaxation with this Lush duo because you deserve it. Wow, that's very inspiring. Cool. I'm already ready to take out my wallet and pay these guys. And it was just an example. So those are two ways that you could use ChatGPT from within n8n. Now, the next way is probably the most applicable way in this video. I use this every single day. And how this works is we extract data from unstructured text. So this unstructured text could come in the form of an email. This unstructured text could come in the form of a PDF or a CSV file or any type of document for that matter. And so what we're doing here is I want to extract this information of a lead, such as, this lead right here, and enter them into a Google spreadsheet just like this. And so we can do this quite easily from within n8n, and we can use the information extractor here. Now, this is a node that we can add in here by going to AI and going into the image extractor here. And this will be able to take out things like whatever we define here. But in this instance, I defined first name, last name, email, and budget. And so very quickly, we're able to automatically take information out. Now, this is great for lead generation. This is great anytime you're dealing with AI agents and you need to take out unstructured data and structure it. But anytime you want standardized information, this is going to be an absolute game changer. And I can tell you right now, out of everything, this is something that I use in this video the most. And I have people coming to me almost every single day trying to figure out how to do this kind of stuff. And so it's pretty straightforward once you know how to do it. You can obviously pull out anything you want. So for example, if they included the service in this particular email, I could pull that out as well, and so on and so forth. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that for now. And so in this example, we have an email coming in. We want to take that data out and enter it into a Google spreadsheet. If I go ahead and run this live, it will pull that out and then extract it and place it onto the Google spreadsheet. The only limitation, though, with this image extractor is that it is actually quite limited in nature, in the sense that we can deal with strings, we can deal with Boolean, date, numbers, all these different data types. However, the challenging part comes in where, let's say we have a lead report that we generate every single day, and we want to take out the information from all of these people at the same given time. Well, that's where something like this information extractor breaks down, and we need to have something a bit more heavy duty. And so what we can do in this instance is we can message a model in AI, OpenAI. So we'll hit the plus button again, go to AI, go into OpenAI, and enter this into our instance of n8n. And so once we do this, essentially we can ask ChatGPT to do whatever it is that we want it to do. In this case, we're taking out structured data. So really there's three main parts to this after you choose any model. The main thing is the messages, and you need 3 messages in here to get this the way you want it to be. In a nutshell, I'm going to go through this one by one because I personally think that ChatGPT did an absolutely horrible job of categorizing and labeling these roles, because system, user, and assistant message means pretty much nothing to nobody. So let me try and break this down. The system message here essentially is the parameters. It's like the context. We're giving instructions on what ChatGPT should do. So in this instance, we're saying to it, hey, I want you to pull out things like the first name and the last name and the email and the phone number and the whatever from this particular email. Then with the user message, this is the information we have to pass in. So this is the email, right? That email contains the person's first name, last name, email, and so on and so forth. And so we're passing in the data that it can use to extract from. And then the assistant message down here is how we structure the output, right? So how does this output look? And essentially this is defined using JSON data. So if I go ahead and run this step really quickly here, what we want is we want to structure it with first name, last name, email, and budget like we did before in that example when we put it into the spreadsheet. However, we want to do it with 5 people at the same time. And so how we can structure the data in any way possible is using this assistant message. So this is something called JSON data, and you do not need to be a coder or even know that much about this to do this properly. But essentially what we need to do is just be able to ask ChatGPT in a new tab how to extract the data for us. So I could type in here, please generate me JSON data to pull out things like a first name, last name, email, and budget from multiple people at the same time. And it's going to go ahead and generate that for us. Okay, cool. And I'm just going to say, please don't include any values and only provide one example. It'll go ahead, redo the JSON for us. We can copy this and then enter it into our particular OpenAI node here. Then we're good to go. It will copy that structure every single time. And so this is how we can standardize the output so that we know predictably how to put it into something like our Google spreadsheet right here. The last thing that I want to mention is we just need to have the output content as JSON, because if we don't do that and we execute the step, it's just going to come back in a blob of text just like this. This isn't useful to anybody. We just want to make sure that we structure it as JSON. This is kind of what JSON looks like on the side here. This is what JSON looks like on the output. And so when we have that information and now we run the whole sequence, it's going to grab out every single person, go through them one at a time, and then add them into the Google spreadsheet one at a time. And so this is really, really useful. This will be in the description down below if you guys want to copy these blueprints. Now, the next use case for ChatGPT is to score people on a 1 to 5 scale. So for instance, maybe you're recruiting somebody and you want to focus your time on the people that are the most likely candidates for you to hire. Maybe you have leads coming in and you want to focus your time on the most likely candidates that will turn from leads into paying customers. Or maybe you're searching for jobs and you want to focus on the jobs that you're most interested in. So we can use AI to score particular data on a 1 to 5 point scale. And very similarly, like last time, we're going to have a system message, a user message, and an assistant message. But the main thing here is just the system message that I want to convey, and this will be in the blueprints down below for free as well, that we can give ChatGPT instructions on how to score information accordingly. So we can say, hey, you need to rate this particular lead on a 1 to 5 point basis, and we're going to give you the criteria on how we want you to rate this person. So you can assign 1 point if their revenue is above $10,000. Maybe, for instance, if you run a business and your leads don't have $10,000 to spend, you know it's just not going to be worth your time to work with them. Maybe they come in thinking it's going to cost $100. Your break-even point's like $8,000. You're just never going to see eye to eye, never going to make it work. So you want to make sure to filter out low-quality leads. So that could be one point that they do not get. Another point might be for employees. Maybe they need 5 or more employees because you deal with companies at that size. Another thing could be the budget that they have, and so on and so forth. So you can start assigning a score to your leads and then filter out the ones that are not your ideal profile, and then focus your time on the high quality leads that you actually want to sell your services to. The next use case for ChatGPT is creating a RAG system from within n8n. And so there's a lot of videos. I have a lot on my channel talking about RAG systems, but you can actually build a very quick and simple RAG system just by using ChatGPT. And so this is how it works. When you hit the plus button up top here and you go into AI and you go into OpenAI here, you have 2 options. You can message a model or you can message an assistant. Let me break down the difference between the two. When you message a model, this is like it's generative AI in the sense that you're just generating one thing one time. Like you're generating an image inside ChatGPT, you're generating a response, you're generating a blog post, you're generating whatever the case may be. When you have a assistant in here instead, what happens is that you're actually creating a thread very similar to ChatGPT in here, where there's past messages, you can pull in historical conversations, all of that kind of stuff. So there's a history of that conversation, right? And then you can actually add on additional tools to that, like for example, a RAG system, the ability to do coding or the ability to do functions or all that kind of stuff. And so how this works is you will create you'll message an assistant and you'll get a node like this. And there's a couple things to do with this. The first thing is that you need to actually choose an assistant down here. And you can see my lovely name that took me a long time to think actually about. I'm just kidding. And the problem here is that unless you've actually done this before, you're not going to be able to have any results here. So let me explain how you can create an assistant, and we'll kind of systematically work down the rest of this. You could hit the plus button, go into AI, OpenAI, and create an assistant here. But the better way to do it, in my opinion, is just to go to platform.openai.com. Once you sign in, you'll hit Playground at the top right here, and then you'll hit Assistant on the left-hand sidebar. And then you can go ahead and create your own assistants straight from here that have a name, system instructions, a model, and the RAG file search system here, where you can upload files. So for instance, I have this example file that I created using AI, which is just a PDF document about FAQ sections relating to this fictitious AI agency. And so I added this in here, and now it can, actually provide answers to customer questions based on the FAQ document. And then there's code interpreter, which essentially in a nutshell enables the assistant to write and run code. And then you have functions. I don't really know exactly what this does because I've never used it before, but yeah, there's a lot of additional functionality in here. And so on top of that, you can also have a memory in here, just like in all the other RAG systems. You can have like your simple memory, MongoDB, Motorhead, Postgres, all that kind of stuff. You could also have a history straight from within the chat, the thread history. So when you select a memory down here, you could use the thread ID. And very similarly to how this conversation here has a thread ID up top in the URL, you could also generate a thread ID for that particular conversation with a client, and then it can recall all past messages as well. And so let's go ahead and let's try this out. I'm going to execute this. Oops. And I'm just going to go ahead and ask a question. Can you please tell me your pricing? And it'll hit the, let's see I just changed the memory here. Let me just go ahead and delete that for now, because I just was playing around with it while explaining it to you. We'll go ahead and say, can you please tell me your pricing with as many spelling mistakes as humanly possible? I don't think I got enough in there. and we'll wait for the response to come back and send it back to Telegram. So it says Smart Pulse's pricing is custom and depends on the scope of your automation needs, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So that's pretty cool to play around with. Now, the next thing that you can do as a popular use case scenario here is to turn text to speech and speech to text. So one example of doing this is if you want to have an AI agent where instead of having to type a response and get a written response back, you can speak to the AI agent and have the AI agent speak back to you. So in this instance here, we have a generic AI agent that only has a brain over here to be able to think and respond back, but they don't have any tools, just to showcase what this looks like. So I'm going to go back to Telegram here and send a message. Hey, how are you doing today? And from that message, what's going to happen is we're going to download the file. We're going to transcribe that, so turn it from speech to text instead, and we're just passing in the file the binary data here. It's going to turn that speech into text here. So, hey, how are you doing today? And then the AI agent will generate a response using its brain. I'm just a computer program, so I don't have any feelings, but I'm here and ready to help. How can I assist you today? That sounds minorly depressing just to read that out here. And we can see that it has generated an audio file from the text that was generated from the AI agent, and it's going to send that back to us so we can listen to that as well.
I'm just a computer program, so I don't have feelings, but I'm here and ready to help you. How can I assist you today?
Wow, that sounds even more depressing than the first time I read it. Okay, cool. So that, in a nutshell, is how you can turn speech to text and text to speech, and just one example of how you could use that. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about here is the ability to search websites and pull back information. This is like not really true, just in the sense that with ChatGPT, you can't actually search a website through their API. Now, I can come into the ChatGPT interface here and be like, hey, I want you to search up my company here and just tell me what's going on, what do they do, all that kind of stuff. And it'll give you a good response inside ChatGPT, but the functionality here is different than the functionality that you have access to via their API, because these are two different products. And so they don't have web search here. So you can do this still, you just need to change this a bit by having a two-part process. Now, the first part is to have an HTTP request, which you put in the URL of a website. What this does is it will pull back all of the information on that particular website. So if we go back to my website here and like we just kind of go into the developer console, all of this code here, including the text and everything, this will all be included in that particular response back, right? So we can see everything here, CSS, HTML, all the text, and then we can put that into ChatGPT here, and we can just say, hey, we want you to summarize what this website does, and we'll go ahead and it will generate a response for you in 2 steps instead of 1. Now, recently, n8n released Perplexity, and with Perplexity, you can just combine these 2 steps into 1. So instead of having to have like the HTTP request to get the website and then summarize it, you can do both at the same time. You just have to make sure that you choose a model which is in the Sonar series here. And as long as you do that, then you can essentially ask it to summarize a website, provide the website, and it will go ahead and offer that summary for you. Automatable offers a service focused on business automation with the goal of scaling companies, and so on and so forth. Cool. The next thing that I want to talk about here, and the second last use case, is classifying text. So a great example here is if you have incoming emails in and you want to keep your inbox clean, and how you can do that is by making an automation like this, where essentially when you receive emails, it will go through a text classifier using ChatGPT down here, and it will classify it into different labels. So you could classify it into sales, you could classify it into recruitment or accounting or your Google Calendar notifications or school or whatever the case may be. And so right away, you can keep your email hygienic by just sorting and classifying things really quickly. Anytime you're dealing with large data sets, and there's a million different things that you might be using large data sets for, it can get overwhelming quite quickly, and it's just one of those data entry tasks that just takes forever to freaking do. Obviously sucks, and nobody likes doing that work. ChatGPT is perfect to kind of replace you from having to do the boring stuff you don't want to do, so that you can focus your time on higher leverage activities. The last thing that I want to talk about here is being able to connect in ChatGPT in the interface over here into n8n. And so how you do that is by subscribing to the Plus plan. This is a paid feature to get access to custom GPTs. I'll have a link in the description showing the video how you can build this out and walking through this every single step. I won't be covering the actual the building in this video, but in a nutshell, we could connect this into an external AI agent inside n8n and give it access to over 1,000 different tools on the right hand side here, like all of these tools that you can see here. So I'm going to go ahead, execute this, and I'm going to say, please schedule a coffee event on my calendar for tomorrow at 2 p.m. It will usually follow up with certain questions if it needs additional information. And then as a security feature, it'll always ask you to confirm by clicking before sending. And what's going to happen is it's going to receive that, hit the AI agent. It will check your availability to make sure that you're actually free at that time. Then it will create the event, and then it'll send that response back to ChatGPT so that it will verify over here on this side that everything is good to go and that event has been created as soon as it's been completed. And there we go. We see the response coming back here. It's been successfully completed, and we can take a look and see the calendar event tomorrow at 2 p.m. That is in a nutshell everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to take AI automation to the next step, then I'd highly recommend taking a look at my school community. Essentially, this is for two types of people where we offer two transformations. The first type of person is for those looking to automate their existing businesses. And I show you how you can automate up to 80% of your business by giving you the exact blueprints and templates that allowed me to scale my business to 7 figures and essentially remove myself from the process of having to do most of the work. And then the second group of people is those looking to create an AI automation agency, and I give you the exact roadmap that's worked for me. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you found value in it. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks and bye-bye.